Still under green here at Daytona. Two-time Daytona winner Dale Earnhardt Jr. to the garage. Involved in an earlier wreck. There you see him make the turn. Marty?
Well, Bill, I think when they went down the lap, what we just saw a moment ago, they finally just said, you know what, guys, let's just take it back to the garage. It was Junior's suggestion, actually. Let's go back there. Let's fix it, make it right, then get back out on the track and be competitive. You guys know, Kyle and Wally, no fun running out there when you're absolutely not competitive at all.
Well, I thought he was going to have a problem. When I saw all that damage on the right rear quarter panel, I didn't think he was going to be able to hang with the draft. And I think they've got that body so out of whack, they can't stay with the pack, so they may as well, you know, get it worked on.
And I'm going to tell you, as much aero damage as he has, and you know how it is, when a pack comes up on you and the air begins to juke your car around, it can turn it left, it can turn it right, and if the toe end's already out, so you've got a handling problem and an aero problem, man, it takes your breath when the pack passes you. And you just want to be safe. You just want to be safe. And I think that's what Junior's doing, is say, let's make this thing safe for everybody, not only for myself, but for everybody.
Sorry about that, Kyle. Also 12 in the championship standings. Matt?
Bill, Jimmy Johnson was complaining earlier his car was a little too tight in traffic. Moments ago, we just came on the radio and said, my car is just so good on entry to the corner that I'm losing grip in the center because of that. Right now, just riding along in 7th.
Thanks, Matt. This portion of NASCAR on TNT's Wide Open coverage is brought to you by Jeff Gordon 24 Energy, new from the makers of Pepsi. And Kyle, as you predicted, they are starting to get strung out a little bit.
They're strung out, and as you watch some of this pack run, especially Kenseth at the back of this pack, when they get to the corner, they go low, he goes high. As we look through the corner, these guys are using up the whole racetrack. Some of them are still on the bottom, but some of them are running mid-pack or middle of the racetrack, and some of them are running up the racetrack. You see the 48 right in the middle, right along in there. You see the 17 all the way, and when they come around, you see the guys behind them. They're not really racing with each other. They just run through the corner and then get back in line as they come down the straightaway.
And they're running up the racetrack because they need it all. The cars are sliding that bad as we ride on board with Jeff Gordon. These cars are just in a big four-wheel drift, and they're using all that racetrack.
A lot of times when you listen to a guy's radio, he'll say, man, I'm just having to pinch the car off the corner. I need the whole racetrack. And that's what Wally's saying. These guys need the whole racetrack to get their car to drive good, rotate good, and to be able to use all their engine.
That's Juan Pablo Montoya in that 42 car that jumped in front of Gordon, now slips down a little bit to the inside.
You can hear Jeff working the throttle right here. Right there, he lifted out of the gas just a little bit.
And it's funny.
And you can see he got back in it right there.
Right there. But it's like Wally said, the trick is, and really, when you listen to these guys, the good guys let off getting in the corner, get their car to set, and then go back to the gas as hard as they can. You'll see these young guys, he'll drive it in the corner until it almost hits the wall in the middle of the corner, lets off, and it makes the front stretch slow and the back stretch slow. These guys make long straightaways out of the corner, and they're able to suck up on people, just like we saw Jeff Gordon pull up on the back of that car a minute ago when we were watching.
And the reason why you lift out of the gas is because the car's not turning. By you lifting out of the throttle, it gets grip back in the front of the car. Once you have that grip back in the front of the car, then you can get back on the gas.
Meanwhile, back at the front of the field, Clint Boyer with Kyle Busch right behind him. Then Ryan Newman. Jimmy Johnson is there in the 48. Kurt Busch in the 2. Fans, stay tuned for 24 by 24 Wide Open with Jeff Gordon immediately following the race on TNT. Here's a special preview courtesy of Pepsi.
Are you guys excited about this premiere?
Go Jeff!
Jeff Gordon, come on out here.
I live a pretty cool life. You know, life is good. There's hard work that goes along with it, but it's a huge reward and payoff at the end of the day, and it gives me the opportunity to do some really cool things over the years. So that's why we're here tonight. You know, I hope everybody gets to see something that you just don't get to see every day.
It
was awesome. It was awesome.
Crazy.
That's
yeah.
my favorite thing.
Jeff Gordon's typical day at the office. 4 hours and 500 miles. The rest of the week is up for grabs.
Going in.
24 by 24, wide open with Jeff Gordon.
You won't race for second. If you see that checkered flag, there's no greater feeling than that.
Buy the extended version on DVD to experience over 30 more minutes of feature action. Plus, behind the scenes and deleted scenes. In stores everywhere, July 10th.
Clint Bowyer continues to lead. They are racing all over the track and using all of the track.
Yeah, they're saving their life all over the track by the looks of it.
NASCAR is also keeping an eye on the bumper cover of the 43 car Bobby Labonte.
And we saw Bobby get in the accident with those guys earlier, with Junior and a couple of those guys. Was turned into the outside wall, and we never really followed up on it. But obviously, he's got some damage that they didn't get fixed, and now they're wanting NASCAR's taking a good look at it.
There you see our race summary. 7 different leaders. 12 caution laps. There's Tony Stewart.
34 laps down.
But at the same time, and you say, why does somebody go back out when they're 34 laps down?
Right.
It's a 160-lap race. You know, if something happens here and takes out a bunch of cars, he moves up in position. And even though it's 3-point increments, when you're trying to stay in that top 12, and you know, we saw a good example of it earlier. The 78 car stayed out and led a lap. You say, well, what difference does it make if Kenny Wallace leads a lap? Let me tell you, he got in this race after the rain because of the points, and those 5 points were important. So every point in this chase is always important.
Carl Edwards working hard.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great shot.
Cautious with that dude, Carl. He almost crashed 5 times in the bush race.
This is going to show you, you know, I mean, it looks fairly easy when you're sitting in the grandstands or at home watching these cars go around. They look like they're driving smooth, but they're not. You're wrestling these cars, especially on a night like tonight when the racetrack is hot and slick. You turn down in the corner, and you're sawing on that wheel. Look at his eyes. Oh, I'll tell you what, that 42 car looks like he's got his hands full right there, and that's exactly what the crew chief was talking about, was watch out for that 42 car, because he actually looks like he's loose.
Juan Pablo Montoya in the 42.
That was Carl's spotter, and Carl just went ahead and let Jeff Burton jump up in there to take the blow if there's going to be a blow delivered here.
But you hear the 99 just lifted out of the gas, so 99's got a little bit of handling issues right now.
This portion of NASCAR on TNT's wide open coverage brought to you by Subway Restaurants.
You see him looking up in the mirror. 18 cars getting a good run, so he's watching in this mirror to see, okay, where's he going to go? He's going to pass me low or high? Is he going to hit me in the bumper? And he figures he needs to run the high road. The 99 needs the top of the racetrack, so he's going to say, hey, if you're going to pass me, you better take me down the bottom or I'll wreck you.
And you could see Carl. Carl went in under that white line.
But the very top takes off sliding the nose big.
Under that white line.
We're going to do a round of bite out. Half pound out left side tires. Inside.
Talking about the changes they're going to make.
Yeah, they're talking about the changes they're going to make, but you saw him go below the white line and slide all the way up next to the wall. Just like they said, they're going to take a round out and let some air out of the left side tires. Taking a round out will free the car up chassis-wise. The left side tires will also free the car up, but at the same time, a lot of times dropping some air out of the left side tires will give the left sides a little bit more grip to help the car rotate.
And what I meant by, you know, you better take me on the low or I'm going to wreck you, is just what he said. If you get up on the high side of me, my car's going to push up the racetrack, and I may run into you. It may not be on purpose, but that's where my car's sliding to.
Bowyer continues to lead. Let's go back and take a look a moment ago at the 5-car of Kyle Busch. Similar to what you guys were talking about.
Oh, man, he's loose way in that corner. And I'll tell you what, that's a great, it doesn't look like much, but I'll tell you what, when you're running, and he did it twice and saved it. Which he does that a lot. He saves the race car being loose a lot, Marty.
How would you race car drivers describe that one to your race team?
I wouldn't be able to talk for about 4 laps. I'm just going to be honest with you on that one.
He said that was stupid sideways, as he called it. And then he came back on the radio and said, oh, yeah, and it was twice, too. He said he's loose on the bottom, but he's too tight up top. So you got to decide which line you want to run. If you want to be fast, you want to be on the bottom, he's got to deal with that loose condition.
Now, the problem is, too, when you're that loose and you've got somebody like Newman on your rear bumper, that's even going to make it twice as bad. So He's going to have to be real careful. If that 12 car gets really, really close to him, don't be surprised if he pulls over and lets him go, because you can't have somebody on your rear bumper if you're that loose. It just makes it 10 times worse.
Getting close to pit stops, 35 cars on the lead lap. Among the cars not close to the lead lap, Elliott Sadler, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Tony Stewart, and Denny Hamlin.